We are here to give you an update.
NASA Administrator Bill Nelson began his early December update on the U.S. Space Agency's efforts to return astronauts to the moon by emphasizing the complexity of the Artemis mission.
It's the most daring, technologically challenging, collaborative, international endeavor that humanity has ever set out to do.
Artemis 1, NASA's first step in returning to the moon, was an unmanned test flight in late 2022.
Splashdown.
When Artemis 1's Orion spacecraft returned through Earth's atmosphere, NASA staff noticed issues with the capsule's heat shield, meant to protect astronauts inside during the dangerous re-entry, throwing the reliability of the spacecraft and the future of Artemis in doubt.
Heat accumulated inside the heat shield's outer layer.
NASA Deputy Administrator and former astronaut Pam Melroy says NASA's subsequent study of the problem found a fix, ensuring the Orion spacecraft will fly future missions.
Our team did identify the correct root cause of the Artemis heat shield issue.
The first crewed moon mission, Artemis 2, was initially scheduled for late 2025 and would orbit but not land on the surface of the moon. Fixing heat shield issues and the re-entry trajectory of the Orion spacecraft is now forcing NASA to push Artemis 2's launch date to April 2026. Artemis 3, which plans to land astronauts near the lunar South Pole, is now scheduled for mid-2027.
The safety of our astronauts is always first in our decisions.
NASA Administrator Nelson underscored the geopolitical importance of ensuring the Artemis program can safely and reliably transport astronauts to the moon before China plans to land people on the lunar surface by 2030.
It's important in an area where we think there is such promise, the South Pole, primarily because of the presence of water, that we establish our presence there so that China would not be there and say, keep out.
Nelson also justified decisions to adjust the Artemis timeline despite a change in the presidential administration in January that could lead to further adjustments, noting the rockets for Artemis 2 are already being prepared for launch.
The life of the solid rocket boosters has a certain defined life. So we needed to get this thing going so we can stay on this timeline.
When Artemis 2 does launch, it could make history by sending the first woman and the first person of color around the moon. Future Artemis missions will increasingly incorporate equipment from commercial companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. Kane Fairbaugh, VOA News.